Hello everyone, IKEA here back again with another video. So today we're going to be talking about my gripes with modern gaming, but before we get into that, just let me say a few words. Okay, so I'm traveling out of the country here, and I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks, so there won't be any videos. I was planning on making this one a little bit more edited than it currently is going to be. However, with the time constraints, I've been working a lot, and the fact that I'm now leaving tomorrow, it kind of snuck up on me, and I'm not going to be able to get that done. I still think the video is going to be going well, so hopefully stick around. And with that, let's get into my gripes with modern gaming. Gaming. A thing of passion, hard work, and some would say, art. Now that might be taken to the extreme in some cases, but, it could also be held true in other cases. However you look at it, its influence is ever present and all around us, especially in the digital age that we are in. With ever-evolving social media, algorithms, apps, you name it, we are constantly seeing an evolution in technology. However, a place where we aren't seeing this necessarily is gaming. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still some good games. Elden Ring, Half-Life Alyx, maybe even Halo Infinite. But overall, we seem to be at a stopping point in how games are evolving. Graphics may get better and better every year. The UI may have some slight improvements, though not so much now. We'll get into that in a little bit. And the games may feel more real, but other than that, there's not much else, is there? We seem to be stuck to a tube, a metaphorical tube, and continually force-fed the same game year after year with no major developments. A big part of this would be microtransactions. Think about it. Everything costs money now. Sure, you had some DLC back in the day, like extra maps, a small expansion of the game's storyline, or at the most, a custom weapons expansion. But now, everything costs money. And if you can't unlock stuff such as skins or maps, they're handed to you at the very beginning, but become damn near impossible to obtain after getting a few and leveling up. Activision is a great example of this, even reaching back to games that came out over 10 years ago. How does Activision have the audacity to sell a season pass for Black Ops 2, a game that is 3 console generations old, still for $50, and all other games are $60, excluding the really old ones that normally go for about $20. The Black Ops 3 Season Pass, available for a limited time in 2016, still sells for $50 on Activision's website. Those games are dead. At the most, the Season Pass should be $5, maybe $10. That's still pushing it. The game is near 10 years old, and they're still asking the price of a brand new game. Infinite Warfare Deluxe Edition still goes for $100 and $40 on sale. I haven't owned any of the newer games since Vanguard, and we saw how that one turned out. But if I can get 3 of the latest games for less than one damn near 10-year-old game when they're on sale, why not take it? The next part of this is, it's the same mold. I know I'm going on a bit of a big Call of Duty rant, but this really and truly does carry over into the FPS genre so well. All the games that are releasing every year are basically the same concept over and over. World at War was eventually followed up with Call of Duty World War II. Black Ops has been revived with Cold War, which is a steaming pile of junk. And then we had yet another World War II game with Vanguard, not even mentioning that the first 6 games ever made of the series were World War II games as well. We've had enough of World War II for a while. Sure, the Nazis are great enemies to fight, but after almost 10 installments, how much more in-depth can you go? Modern Warfare 1 and 2 have been are being recreated, and those have been great, something that is rare nowadays. The one thing that they didn't keep same, however, has been the UI. It is incomprehensible to understand. Customizing a weapon, let alone getting into a lobby, should not require a PhD to do so. I feel like I'm loading up Netflix rather than an FPS shooter when I see that ugly layout. Now, moving on from that, let's talk about laziness. Game developers have become lazy, or at least complacent where they are. GTA 5 is almost 10 years old, and we just recently got official confirmation that it's in development. And that all came after there was a huge leak of the game showing everything. Which, albeit, was not a great thing, but at least it finally showed that they were doing something with a game that is a 10th of a century old. That's a big way to put it, but think about it. 10 years, even for a game that size, they should have some pretty major developments. And as we saw, they did, although the game is not nearly ready for completion yet. And there are countless other games that haven't come out on time either. However, speaking of games that have come out on time, let's talk about fallen back promises. A great example of fallen back promises would be Cyberpunk 2077. The game released and it was terrible. Now, the devs kept on pushing the release date back, and they had a good reason for this. However, the community around the game really wanted the game to come out, and after having a lot of pressure put onto them, the game eventually did come out. And the texture was like cardboard, you couldn't play the game, and it was just overall full of bugs, glitches, and other stuff that made the game unplayable, let alone good enough to even look at from a distance 50 feet away with your eyes squinted. However, Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the rare instances where something like this has actually gone in the proper direction. The developers have been working tirelessly to put it back into a playable state, and honestly, they've succeeded. The game is no longer where it was at when it released, and it is now closer to being where it should have been when it released. And overall, I give that one a very good big ups on that one right there. Next, let's talk about some incomplete games. Now, one of my friends was talking to me about this because he really likes the Call of Duty series. Yes, we're back on that topic. This might as well just be a Call of Duty rant video at this point, but, you know, whatever. It kind of carries over into most other genres as well. I wanted to focus on some other games and other genres as well, but, you know, time constraints. So, he wanted to talk about all the incomplete games that came out on launch. Modern Warfare 2019 was not correct when it launched, let alone Warzone 2019. Black Ops Cold War 2020, that was an absolute mess of a game. Although I had so much high hopes for that game and I really wanted to play it, when it came out it was a terrible game. Next up was Call of Duty Vanguard 2022. I played the campaign and guess what? It was another World War II shooter game by Activision. Or maybe not Activision. Point being, it was another Call of Duty game. After a decade of those games coming out, although not consecutively, pretty close though, we're kind of done with the Call of Duty World War II genre, at least for a good while, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2022. Now, honestly, that one came out pretty much, well, it came out alright. Modern Warfare 2019, that one also, it was alright, but they weren't complete. And if you're going to have the audacity to sell a game for $70, the game had better be complete. That brings us on to our next point. Game prices are rising. Now, admittedly, if you go back and you adjust for inflation, or even not adjust for inflation, when gaming first started, you know, everything cost, you know, $50, $60, $70. $70 on average for a game. And those graphics were not good. We're talking like NES right there. Sure, it was great for the time, but $70 is a lot. We then saw a pretty big drop-off. You could pick up games for $20 or $30, though about $60 on average brand new, or even $50. And now, with no new advancements in how the games are done, except for the games having a higher budget, having better graphics and everything, right? A CD or a DVD, I'm not sure what platform they run on. Not a CD. I'm not exactly sure what they run on. A disc. It does not cost $70, let alone the plastic case around it. But now, the new games, even with adjusting for inflation, there shouldn't be a huge jump from $60 to $70 to $80 in some cases for launch games. They might be good, but they're nowhere near worth $80 for a new game. At that point, you can buy 3 games and you're pretty much close to getting the brand new console. And now, let's talk about the part that everyone likes to talk about, the good old days. So this is going to be our ending point here. You know, we all like to call back to the good old days. You know, simpler times. The Xbox 360 era was that for me. Plus the PS3 era, though I didn't do it nearly as much as I do now. Xbox 360. I remember the first game that I have ever played was, you know, Scooby-Doo on the original Xbox. That was not my true introduction to gaming. The first time where I had a true passion for it was when I went over to my friend's house and we played Halo 4 for 8 hours straight. Yeah, we were 13, probably younger. However, that was a great time. Now, Halo 4 was not received well, and, you know, that just really brings us back. We can see how games truly have not been doing that well for a good while. But Halo 4, that was it for me. That was my introduction to gaming. I saved up, I got myself an Xbox, and the first game I got was the Master Chief Collection. Now, I played this on the Xbox One S, and it just reminded me of, the good old days. Halo, 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 right? I also like to play Half-Life. These games, they have a better sense to them. Half-Life introduced novel ideas. Call of Duty, once again, I'm going on that rant, is just a flat first-person shooter. Sure, they might have a different campaign every year, but it's not really different, is it? Thank you all for watching. I know this rant was a little bit more ranty than I wanted to be. But, yeah, see you all in a couple weeks. And maybe I'll give you an update then. Goodbye.